My name is Elijah Mwangi. I'll be your conference moderator for the 2 days, though I'll be having a co-host as we get along. And so I want us to get started because of time. It's about 9, and so we're going to get started. I just want, before we have the opening remarks, it's good to know who you are seated around with. This conference is all about opportunities and networks, innovations, and networks. And so just look at the person seated next to you and tell him or her that billionaires look like you. Billionaires look like you. Yes, indeed, it's very important so that you know the person who is sitting next to you. Who knows, he or she could bring you business. Allow me to say something before we have the first speaker coming on board, because this is the first edition of Women Entrepreneurship and Innovation Summit. And about 3 years ago, a company by the name Expodium Africa started a research on women and entrepreneurship. And this came after realizing that women in the country were warming up for business. In 2015, for those who can remember, Kenya was recognized for women empowerment in New York on the sidelines of the 59th session of the Commission on the Status of Women at the UN headquarters. Well, that was happening as the country was being celebrated at that global stage. There was a lot to be desired on matters to do with women and business in the country. And what Expodium Africa realized is that majority never got to scale their businesses or even sustain them. And so a journey of interviewing them on the reasons as to why they were not in a position to sustain and scale their business began. So Expodium Africa research team realized that the challenges that were there were around legal issues such as compliance and policies, finance, HR, marketing, technological advancement, among others. These issues are not purely handled by women in this country, and that explains why we have a number of male speakers in the summit. It's against that background that Expodium Africa thought of creating a platform that is focused on empowering women and promoting African women in business and technology. This summit will expose you to business opportunities and challenges affecting your business shall be addressed. And that's why we have a pool of business leaders in the house. As they say that if you want to play with the lions, you must train with the lions. But why now? Why do we have this summit at such a time as now? The African woman is redefining and redesigning her place in history. She's rising from the dust of neglect, poverty, and redundancy to a symbol of strength and source of inspiration everywhere. Yes, women are leaders everywhere you look. From the CEO who runs a multi-billion company to the housewife who raises children and heads her household. The challenge is that their story is hardly told. And as you all know that unless the lion tells the tail of the hunt shall always glorify the hunter. But for these 2 days, metaphorically speaking, I can say that the lion will speak. And when it does, we shall no doubt know how to design structured pathways proven to transform ideas into business and learn how to keep our business afloat in today's fast-paced world where businesses have become highly digitized because it's not possible to reverse the technology clock. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Women Entrepreneurship and Innovation Summit, where we shall catalyze potential partnerships and connect you to business opportunities in the way that only we can. As I had said, I'll be your conference moderator for the 2 days. And my job is well cut out. My job is to shape the conversation so that you can get the best from the discussions that are going to be held here. Allow me to invite the first speaker. And let me just say something about Centonomy Limited. Centonomy, as he will mention perhaps in his presentation, is directed towards helping people to take back control of their wealth and wealth creation journey. Centonomy represents the school of thought that teaches people that wealth creation needs to be a norm, not an exception, that it is possible for each and every individual to be wealthy. That means you. That's about Centonomy. And so the first speaker is going to be Waithaka Gatumia. And considering that he comes from Centonomy Limited, he reminds me of one person who said, no matter how evil the money is, never think that being poor is holy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Waithaka Gatumia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
After such an introduction, you have to live up to the call, isn't it? And first of all, it is to applaud you all. One of the diseases that we face in this nation, we fight with this issue called time. And I honestly believe that there is coming a shift in our nation when those who are like you seated in this room will be the ones who are the movers and shakers. I believe that the businesses that will be on time, that can deliver on time, that show up on time, that live up to the promise of time, will be the ones that make a difference. Because you see, when we start dealing with the Germans, can you be late? If you've done business with the Japanese, have you listened to the story of the Japanese? This is how serious they are. I watched a documentary one time and they were talking about the train system in Japan. And in the train system in Japan, should the train be late, the train itself be late more than 10 minutes, they will issue a letter that you can take to your boss to explain that it was not you who was late, but the train that made you late. Did you hear how long? 10 minutes. A train is considered late, though, at the station after 1 minute. But you will be issued a letter after 10 minutes. Look around us. It speaks, yes. It speaks to the respect that we have of time. And so I am very privileged and very happy to be speaking to you. Because, yes, these cliches and the sayings are there for a reason. The early bird catches the worm. It is true. We say these things because they are true. All right? So hopefully you'll follow through as I go. As you heard, Centonomy is a company. Our mission in life is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people like yourselves who keep time can create wealth and live abundantly. So all our programs are in line with that. But I don't want to talk about ourselves today. I want to give some ideas, some concepts that hopefully will be able to help you, and especially the women in this room. Men, you can take a few notes, but ladies, this is for you. About letting go. We hold on, don't we, to our babies. And many times the businesses that you have started are like a baby. I remember when we brought our firstborn home. This was us. Beautiful Alyssa Joan Waithaka. This was our first baby. I was in the room when she came into the world. I blessed her and we went home. I was with her throughout until we arrived home. And we put her on the couch. We looked at her and we looked at each other with my wife and we were like, okay, now what do we do? Because we didn't know. What do you do with a child once you get home? And so we began to do what we thought. Okay, she started crying. Okay, is she okay? Do you give her something to eat? Do you let her sleep? What do you do at that point? And we took care of her. But the memory that I have that is closest to me is that we bought specific equipment to make sure that she is okay when she is sleeping. Anyone know of a baby monitor? You have seen one. Some of you might have them in your home. This was our first baby, and when she is sleeping, there was a camera right in her cot watching what she's supposed to do. Sleep. And every few minutes, with our first baby, every few minutes you'd pick up the monitor and look, is she still breathing? Is she okay? That was the concern. Is she still breathing? And sometimes, you know, babies, the way they don't breathe heavily, yeah? So sometimes you can't tell. So you're watching the monitor, and you're like, she's not moved for a while. I can't see the movement of breathing. So we'd go into the room, sometimes waking her up, but go into the room to make sure she's breathing. That was beautiful, Alyssa, Joan, Waithaka. 2 years later, her sister arrived on the scene. Guess what? I don't know where the baby monitor is. I really don't know where it is. It has disappeared, and when I found it, I was very surprised because it was underneath many different things. But you know what? When you've gotten the experience, you're able to let go a little bit more. And with our second baby, not that we didn't care about her, but that we understood babies sleep. And when they're not sleeping, they have a wonderful alarm system. It is called crying. They will let you know if there's a problem. And so it allowed us time to be able to relax, to calm down, and to do other things that we needed to do. Letting go. We are in the process in our business of letting go. I am standing here on behalf of a woman entrepreneur. I work for a woman, an amazing woman. I work for Waithaka, who is the founder and current CEO of Centonomy Limited. She started the company almost 10 years ago in 2009 and has been seeing the baby through. But this year, we have been through a transition. She has been in a program where she's been learning and trying to grow the business. She has been at speaking engagements across borders. She has been doing many different things that are helping to grow the business. But in order to do that, she had to leave the business. We were doing an audit of her time this year. And this year, she has spent over 100 days out of the business. 100 days. But you see, when I was thinking about the story of my daughters, the two of them, and I was thinking about the business, this is what it is. When Centonomy began, who was the only trainer? Waithaka. Who was the one marketing? Waithaka. Who was the one coming to speak at events like this? Waithaka. And if you had any problem with customer service, who would you call? Waithaka. Anyone in the room who is at that stage? Your business is you. A few of us. I can see you. You're there. Don't worry. It's okay. It's your first baby. You will let go. But if you look around the room, please do speak to a few of the other speakers who are here now and the people around you, because they'll tell you over time, in order to grow, you have to let go. And this year has been that biggest year of letting go in our company. And I've been watching. In fact, the reason that I took the job to work at Centonomy, I was not looking for a job there. Waithaka came and looked for me and said, this was the funniest job interview that I've ever had. Because she called me and said, let's have a meeting. I was part of the training staff that she had, but I was not full-time at the organization. And she called me for a meeting and we sat down. And this is how the job interview went. She sat down and said, here, Waithaka, is the plan. In the next few years, this is where we're going. We will start doing this, we'll start doing this, we'll start doing this. And I'm not sure, when are you able to begin? She didn't even ask whether I wanted to. She just said, come and start. Do you think that's easy? To let somebody into your business and to start doing the things that you want them to do? No. But guess what? This has allowed her to begin to do some of the things she had never done before. So, as we begin to talk about this, I want to give you a few points about letting go that hopefully will help you along the way. I hope this will be helpful to you. Even in moments of transition, you have to begin to let go. So, things to let go of in order to grow. Number one, let go of the past. Let go of the past. What has happened, hasn't it? Can you do anything about it? Can you change it? Can you change the past? No. Can you be able, through worry and through elaborate ideas and conferences and moments where you can meet with your fellow people and just tell them your stories, can you be able to change the past? No. You can't change it. So here's what we must do in order to let go of the past. Learn from the past. Learn from both the positive and from the negative. I'll give you a couple of ideas. Positives. A business model that worked 10 years ago may not work now. The business model that started your business is good for where the business is, but in order to grow, you must change that business model. Adapt and to grow. So for instance, when Centonomy began, Waithaka used to train by herself. And in fact, not only that, but she would train one person. She'd come into your life, you come, you'll be given a couple of ideas about your financial planning. You'll be told, here's some things you need to cut back on, here's what you can increase on, go forth and create wealth. Okay, next. But where the real change came in our business is when she realized, after talking to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, she realized human beings are exactly the same. The issues that we are facing are generally the same. Maybe a different iteration in your life because of your experience, but the issues are the same. So the business model moved, and we said, guess what? Put 10 people into a room, give them a curriculum, show them this is what the process that you need to go through, and that business model moved forward. Guess what? This is now years later, and we are realizing that maybe part of the reason that this room is empty is that somebody was hoping to find the live stream online of this session. And to be able to access this information that you're getting right here from the comfort of their bed. And so we are in the moment right now of transition again and saying, what is the business model that will allow us to train people in Singapore? Are you telling me that in Singapore they don't have issues around wealth creation? They probably do. What about in New Zealand? And why can't African companies be able to make that difference in their life as well? So we're in that transition as well. Can your business model of training one person, or whatever it is that you're doing, the production, for instance, my father who's in production, he said at the very beginning when he was starting his chemicals business, he was starting off by doing the actual work himself. He does avocado oil. And the avocado oil you can actually produce very easily from your home. He had a few implements that he would use. He would get the avocado, and as he was starting out, he would just lay it outside to dry, squeeze it, get the oil, and be able to produce a couple of liters. But in order to service the supermarket industry, he needs to do what? To change, to bring in technology that's going to happen there. So even from the positives, he was making money doing it by hand. But in order to make more money, the business model must change. So let go of the past is number one. The second one, as far as letting go of the past, is from the negatives as well. Last year, we introduced one of our latest programs, and it failed. I'm telling you, we tried multiple times. We put in new trainers, we had some good meetings around the marketing of this product, and it's all around career development, and I know that quite a few people here providing those services, and there was something that we just did not crack. And we had a couple of seasons of that class. We were aiming for having 30 people in the room, but consistently we were getting 15, and by the end of the course there were about 12 consistently. And so what did we do? Business model is not working, we shut down and said, guess what? We need to rethink and see whether this is going to come back. But watch this. That class, after we did a review, had the greatest immediate effect of all the classes that we ran. A lady wrote us an email from that class. And she wrote to us and she said, I was in your class for 6 weeks. I had been waiting for a promotion, trying to get a promotion in my bank for the last 8 years. Within the 6 weeks that I was with you, I got promoted, doubled my salary, and moved to the branch that I wanted to. You know, even we were taken aback, and we were like, okay, if it has this effect, and she was not the only one. One of our classmates ended up being one of the top 40 men under 40 in business this last year. And it was a change that was happening that we were seeing in front of us, but the problem was we couldn't see how to get it across the board. So last year it failed, and we said that was a big negative. You put resources into a plan, you put things that you hope for. It was not a financial success, but guess what? Even in the negative, you can find the positive. So if it had the effect, we sat down and said, how can we be able to move this forward? This year, we put a few different resources behind it, a different marketing team. We looked at what is it that was the actual effect. We looked, where did we get our customers from? We did so. And from last year into this year, and it has only been half the year, we have done 500% growth on the same product. So even from the negatives, you can be able to grow. So ladies and gentlemen, let go of the past. You can't do anything about it. The only thing you can do is learn and begin to move forward. Ask yourself now, and I want you to do this for a few seconds. Now you're in class. This is how we do class. What are you holding on to from the past? Write that question down. You can begin to write some of the ideas behind it. What are you holding on to from the past? Are you like Waithaka, who, as of last year, I was still remembering my standard 8 teacher who said, you are not like your brother. How come you're not like your brother who had been through, and he was index 1, all those different things. You are not like your brother. I'm not like him. I'm completely different, but he's not like me either. What are you holding on to from the past? Learn from it and begin to grow. Let me go to the second point as far as letting go is concerned. Now this one is the hard one. Letting go of responsibilities. Letting go of responsibilities. I always do this test where I go to speak. Most of us are entrepreneurs in the room, yes? Yes? Okay. If you're an entrepreneur, wave at me, just so that I know who I'm speaking to. You own a business, you're running a business. Good, okay, so a few of us here. How many of you have the business checkbook? You are the one who controls the business checkbook. Wave at me. Yes, I can see you, yes. Hi, you have it, yes, good. A few of us. So who's checking you? Who are you accountable to? In fact, one of the biggest problems for early stage entrepreneurs is that we steal from the business, and not, I said we. I'm one of you. I run a business. I run a business like the one this gentleman is doing, where we do production work. And because I don't pay myself a salary from that business, how do I get money from it? By doing what? Stealing. When I need cash, I go to the business account, I write a check, I don't tell anybody else. I go to the bank, I take the money out and I go. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. If I was to hire somebody to do my job in that business, would I give them the same latitude? So why do we allow ourselves to steal from the business? So the lesson here is this. Letting go of responsibilities helps to increase accountability. Because guess what? If you have an accountant who has the checkbook, when you need the cash, you go to that accountant and ask them for the check, and they will ask you what question? Why? And if it is not part of the business ideas, then you will have a good conversation. The likelihood is earlier on that you will still get the money and still steal from the business, I understand. But now you have a check that's going to be watching over you. When you're holding on to responsibilities, it decreases your accountability. Do you think it would be easy to let go of your baby like that? No. But in order for the baby to grow, you must let go. May God bless you as you let go in various spaces of your life. I hope that has been helpful. I'm so grateful to have been here. Thank you so much.